Good evening, everybody. My name is Joao Acosta. Sorry about that. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joao Acosta, and today I will be talking about the Mexico and the U.S. migration dynamics. So, as you can tell, NAFTA opened up a program and was basically designed to promote economic growth, job creation, and increase competitiveness amongst its member countries by eliminating tariffs and other trade barriers and facilitating cross-border investments and fostering more integrated North American markets, right? Additionally, they also aim to enhance regional cooperation, strengthen their diplomatic ties, and be able to create a social bond amongst the US, Canada, and Mexico. Okay, so in regards to the economic integration, NAFTA aimed to create a free trade zone between the three North American countries by eliminating the tariffs, as said above. And this right here was actually a major impact, um, mainly for Mexico due to certain margins that they weren't able to meet due to um, the food and how different the language barrier was on in regards to people from Canada migrating to the US. For the market access for Mexico, it actually represented the opportunity to gain preferential access to the large and affluent US and Canada markets. Like I said above, it was a bit harder for them to join simply because of the language barrier. And another one that was actually a perk for both the US and Mexico was the Bracero program, of course, which is labor dynamics. It falls under, it was a temporary migration program that was opened up so that Mexican laborers were able to work in American agriculture right before World War II had started and followed way after. It influenced labor dynamics between Mexico and the US and actually brought a massive um, amount of people into the US. We'll go ahead and get to numbers now. Um, the trade volume of NAFTA created one of the world's largest trade-free zones, which combined a GDP of $20 trillion, over $20 trillion, of course. Um, okay, so NAFTA's economical intentions, of course, were crafted to aim at fostering free trade. Once again, the agreement was from 1994, and it's once again implemented till 2020 until they actually changed the name. Um, okay, perfect. So let's speak a bit about Bracero program. The Bracero program was once again a group of actually millions of Mexican laborers participated in this program. So the Bracero program perpetuated a cycle of dependency on cheap migrant labor within within the American agriculture industry. So this means that these people, well, not these people, apologize, I did not mean that in a bad way. But um Mexicans would come into the US and would seek this as an opportunity for them because they never um were able to make this type of money back into their country. So we're talking about people that would average a gross pay of $5 an hour or $5 a day would go out to win a total of like $110. Okay, so while the program was offered economic opportunities for Mexican workers, it was also criticized for exploitation. Work harsh work conditions, and also limited rights. So once again, we are speaking about people that are migrating into the country to do work and leave the country. Some of these people would go out, migrate into the US to seek a better life, and would never go back to Mexico. That's one of the reasons why they were actually criticized. Another reason was exploitation. Once again, um, these workers were highly exploited due to the fact that the pay was very low. Um, so officially, despite the economic benefits, the program sparked debates and tensions surrounding immigration policy and labor rights once again. So it was officially terminated in 1964 and remains a significant chapter in history due to the fact that there was a massive um, exodus of Mexicans that migrated into the U.S., highlighting complexities of cross-border and labor mobilities. Okay, so its purpose was once again to illuminate multi-faced nature of Mexico and the U.S. migration and to synthesize scholarly research and historical analysis. I will go ahead and I'll show you the data that I'm talking about right now. Okay, so Fernandez, Kelly, and Massey critique NAFTA for exacerbating, inequalities and reinforcing power imbalances between Mexico and the U.S. So the treaties focused on corporate interest over worker welfare, contributed to labor exploitation and social upheaval of Mexico. Additionally, NAFTA failed to address underlying socioeconomic challenges, perpetuating conditions conducive to irregular migration. So once again, we will start talking about um, the care for these for the Mexican migrants. Here I will have a chart, and this chart will go ahead and explain many things that I was talking about earlier, which represents the red, it being the imports from the U.S. From Mexico into the U.S., and the blue being exports from U.S. to Mexico. So notice how this is the lowest one, and this is actually the highest one. Okay, well, we could go ahead and here as well. Here it's the labor productivity index versus the real hourly compensation. So as you can see, it's very low. It gets lower because they take advantage and then it starts going up and it fluctuates. Over here, same thing. You have the Mexico buyers, the buyers from US to Mexico and vice versa. Um, what I'm trying to show you with these graphs is very simple. Um, it did seem as if it was uh, an evenly agreement, but as you can tell here, and based off of Fernandez, Kelly, and Massey, you could clearly show that the U.S. had the upper hand in reference to um, what it was that they were getting out of this agreement. So this last picture would actually show it all, see how all of these people once again are migrating, and then you get what products back into the Mexico. So before NAFTA came into effect, approximately 21.4% of Mexico's population earned below the minimum income required to afford food. So despite NAFTA actually implementing it for 25 years, this percentage has hardly changed, and it doesn't make much of a difference. So 42% of Mexico's total population and over 60% of the rural population remain below poverty line, which actually contradicts what NAFTA actually wants to say. And on the 10th anniversary of NAFTA, Washington posted a note that there were 19 million more Mexicans living in poverty compared to 2 decades prior. I would actually say that this is something that's very controversial in reference to the fact that this program may have done what it was meant to do, but at the same time raised highly controversial topics due to the fact that it wasn't as much, the Mexicans did not get anything, you know, and I'm part Dominican Mexican, and I would say that in reference to the history, yes, we we were satisfied, and but for the most part, the wage was never enough. So the criticism they received is was like I said, the labor standards, environmental regulations. Mexicans were working in very hot temperatures and were not given the resources necessary to be able to survive this environment. Um, that would be my presentation. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed.